Compendium Maleficarum by Francesco Maria Guazzo. Book 3, Chapter 4. On Divine Remedies, on Divine and Supernatural Remedies. Example 1 of Faith. Johann Nider, in his Formicarius, tells the following. A certain witch said, quote, "When a man once asked me to kill an enemy of his, or else to injure him grievously by a stroke of lightning or in some other way, I invoked my little master or demon, who answered that he could do neither, for he said that the man had a pure faith and protected himself diligently with the sign of the cross. Therefore, he could not injure him in his body, but, if I would, he could destroy an 11th part of his crops in his field." The Empress Justina sent against our father St. Ambrose a witch named Innocentius, who afterwards openly confessed that he had delegated some demon to kill St. Ambrose, but they had been unable to approach even the door of the house in which the bishop was, for the house was protected all round by an unquenchable fire, which burned there even at a distance, and so their wiles were thwarted, and baffled was the mischief by which he thought to have done injury to the priest and bishop of God. John Cassian relates that 2 philosophers tried to trouble St. Anthony by means of magical illusions and the deceits of demons, but when with all their labor they could effect nothing, and that was all the result of the plots they had sought out with such deep magic, it became very evident to them that there was a great virtue in the professions of the Christians. For the same savage powers of darkness which could, as they thought, at will obscure the sun and moon were not only unable to injure St. Anthony, but could not even cause him the slightest disturbance in his monastery. Therefore, St. Epiphanius denounces the heretical opinion of the Ebionites that there is no virtue in an invocation which uses the name of Christ and the sign of the cross. About the time of the Emperor Lothair, Friesland was infested with a great number of specters of hellish serpent fiends who lived in an underground cave in a little overhanging brow of a high hill, which they had built by magic without human help. Here lived those whom the ancients called white nymphs, who used to seize upon night fares and such as kept watch over their flocks and herds in the open, and yet more frequently they snared women with the children they had just born, and the specters used to take them secretly to their hidden underground caves, from which there could then be heard the sound of murmuring under the ground, and the wailing of children, and the loud weeping and moans of men, and sometimes singing and other uncertain sounds were heard. For this reason a careful watch was set upon pregnant women and little children, lest they should be seized unawares by those hellish nymphs. But all these devilish illusions vanished and came to naught after they received the true gospel of God, for erstwhile the Frisians were deluded by the errors of Sibelius and Arius. For the next part of this series, we will cover Guazzo's example of baptism and how it applies as a remedy in the next video in the series of Sources of Sophiurgy. I'm Ignotus Amicus, and if you enjoy this content, and if it bears good fruit in your life, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you know when next a video comes online. God bless.